your body starts dying. You think aging begins when your hair turns gray, or when your back starts hurting, or when someone accidentally calls you sir for the first time. But your body started dying long before that. In fact, the process has already begun. And the strangest part is this: your body was never actually designed to last forever. It was only designed to survive long enough to reproduce. Everything after that is basically maintenance mode, temporary repairs, a machine trying to hold itself together before it falls apart. Because from the very moment you were born, your body was moving in only one direction: forward, toward decay, toward breakdown, toward death. And the first signs begin much earlier than most people think. And the first signs begin much earlier than most people think. Not at 50, not at retirement, not in old age. That is the peak. After that, something changes. Very slowly, so slowly that you barely notice it. But your cells notice, your organs notice, your DNA notices. And one by one, the systems keeping you alive begin to fail. Not all at once, not dramatically, quietly, silently, cell by cell. Let's start with the skin. Around the age of 25, your body begins producing less collagen every year, about 1% less annually. Collagen is the structural protein that keeps skin firm, elastic, and smooth. It's what allows young skin to recover quickly. Now imagine removing 1% of the support beams from a building every year. At first, nothing happens. Then tiny cracks appear. Then the structure starts weakening. That is aging. And sunlight makes it much worse. Much worse. Every time ultraviolet light hits your skin, it damages the DNA inside your cells. Your body repairs most of that damage, but not perfectly, never perfectly. Tiny mistakes accumulate over decades like scratches on a hard drive. In many ways, aging is the accumulation of informational damage. The body slowly loses the original instructions. That is why the skin of a 70-year-old does not heal like the skin of a teenager, because the blueprint itself has been damaged. And skin is only the beginning, because underneath it, something even more important is happening. Inside your cells are protective caps at the ends of chromosomes, telomeres. Think of them like the plastic tips on shoelaces. Every time a cell divides, those tips become slightly shorter. And eventually they become too short to protect the DNA. The cell stops dividing, stops repairing itself. This process is called cellular senescence. But scientists sometimes call these cells something else: zombie cells. Because they do not fully die. They simply stop being useful. And they remain there, taking up space, releasing inflammatory chemicals into the surrounding tissue, damaging nearby healthy cells. One such cell is not a problem. Millions are. By the age of 30 to 40, the body accumulates them everywhere. In the skin, in the joints, in the arteries, in the organs. Small pockets of biological malfunction slowly spread throughout the body. And this is where aging becomes visible. Not because time itself causes damage, but because the repair systems begin losing against the damage. For most of life, the body wins that battle. And then one day, it doesn't. Muscles are one of the first places where this becomes obvious. After the age of 30, most people naturally begin losing muscle mass, roughly 3% to 8% per decade. And after 60, the decline accelerates sharply. This process is called sarcopenia. It sounds scientific and distant until you realize what it actually means. It means the physical version of you is disappearing, literally. The body that carried you through youth gradually shrinks, fiber by fiber. First strength disappears, then balance, then recovery speed. You notice it in strange little ways. Muscles stay sore longer. You do not jump as high anymore. You begin avoiding stairs without even realizing it. An injury that once healed in 3 days now takes 3 weeks. And here is the frightening part. Most people think aging feels dramatic, but usually it is almost invisible while it is happening. You slowly adapt, normalize the decline, become weaker so gradually that the brain stops noticing it. Until one day you try to do something you have not done in years and suddenly realize you cannot anymore. Not now. But if muscles disappear, bones experience something even darker. Right now, living cells inside your skeleton are constantly breaking down old bone and building new bone. The skeleton is not a static structure, it is alive. Entire sections of it are continuously being destroyed and rebuilt. When you are young, the body builds bone faster than it destroys it. Around the age of 30, that balance changes, especially in women after menopause, when estrogen levels drop sharply. Now, bone loss begins to outpace bone rebuilding. The skeleton slowly becomes more porous, more fragile. Like wood drying out from the inside, this is osteoporosis, and it is frighteningly common. Worldwide, 1 in 3 women and 1 in 5 men over the age of 50 will experience osteoporotic fractures. One fall can permanently change someone's life. A hip fracture in old age dramatically increases the risk of death, not because the bone itself kills you, but because the body struggles to recover from trauma when its repair systems have weakened. This is one of the cruelest parts of aging. The danger is not always the injury itself. It is the fact that the body can no longer return to the way it once was. And nowhere is this more visible than in the brain. The brain reaches its peak surprisingly early. Processing speed already begins to decline around the age of 30. Not wisdom, not intelligence, but speed itself, reaction time, mental sharpness, the ability to process new information quickly. Neurons communicate through electrical and chemical signals traveling across enormous networks. But over time, those networks accumulate damage. The insulation around neurons, myelin, gradually breaks down. Blood vessels become stiffer. The insulation around neurons, myelin, gradually breaks down. Blood vessels become stiffer. Again, so slowly that you barely notice it, until names take longer to remember, until you walk into a room and forget why, until memories begin to feel farther away than they once did. And memory itself is one of the strangest victims of aging, because memories are physical, not metaphorically, literally physical. Every memory you have exists as a pattern of strengthened neural connections inside the brain. Your childhood, your first love, the sound of your mother's voice, all of it is encoded in fragile biological tissue. And over the decades, that tissue changes. Some connections weaken, others disappear completely. The person you were 20 years ago becomes literally harder for the brain to reconstruct. That is why old photographs can sometimes feel unsettling. A younger version of you trapped inside an aging neural architecture.